My mic sounds nice. Check 2.
My mic sound nice. Check 3.
We are ready
Hey.
to rock, y'all.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. No, MC Light. Telling my age.
Welcome to another episode of Wait Again Minute Podcast. Today is Thursday, June the 24th, 2021. This episode tonight has been brought to you by none other than Wait Again Minute Podcast.
All right, tonight, everyone, we have a special guest, Miss Britta Brown Whitehead, and she's here to share her story about her son that was actually taken early from gun violence. Miss Britta, first, I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Tell us a little about Miss Britta Brown Whitehead.
Thank you very much. First, I would like to say thank you so much for the opportunity to come and to share my son's story and to talk about gun violence. And I also want to say I'm really proud of y'all for doing this and actually doing this voice in the community. So a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Suffolk, Virginia. Really down in Chuckatuck, and Sandy Bottom.
Oh, yeah, I heard of that.
Oh, no. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, Sandy Bottom. And I went to elementary school here, Kilby Shores, William J. Jones, Kilby Shores, Southwestern, graduated from John F. Kennedy High School in 89, right before the last class. And then I went on to Spelman College in Atlanta, Georgia, and Georgia Tech. Yes, Spelman. Yay, Spelman College. And went to Georgia Tech, majoring in mathematics and mechanical engineering from Georgia Tech. So, and I've been working in the field of engineering for over the past 30-some years. And I recently come into a new role within the last 6 years as a compliance program manager. And that's interesting because now I do a lot of lawyer work. And I'm actually in the process of working towards my master's of law at Regent University. I had to stop for a little while as I'm healing from my son's untimely death. But I do plan to go back and get that.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your son.
My son, he was just my son, Luis Eduardo Zambrana Jr., he was just, I just loved him. He was a good boy. He was not perfect because no one is perfect, right? But he had a love for music. At age 4, at the church we were going to, at the time it was called Gates of Heaven, Church of Living God International. He would actually sit on the front row with a toy guitar, pretending like he's playing. And he was very serious about it. And he would always look at how the people would do the audio equipment. And he was always up there acting like he was doing it, and from a very young age. And that just progressed to where he winds up playing the drums at Diamond Grove Baptist Church in Chuckatuck for the youth choir. Then he went on to play the organ. And then we wound up putting him in Hampton Christian Academy. He went from Woodside. He was in the arts program. And he went to Hampton Christian Academy, and he actually played the piano and the drums. And that's where he finally got his love for theater there. And I was shocked when I saw him I was really shocked when I saw him do these plays. Miss Norton was his drama teacher, and she pulled out this talent in him that I did not know. Never seen. And then the last one he did was he sung this song. We were doing a scholarship benefit at our church, and he said, "Mom, I want to sing." And I was like, "Well, I think you should," because I had not heard him sing in a long time since he was a little boy. So I was like, "No, I think you should do a monologue. You good at that." He said, "That's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do." He said, "I want to sing." So he talked to my sister, who was over the event at the time, and he played "No Longer a Slave to Fear." And he sung the song, and everyone in the building was quiet. It's like a hush fell off across the room. My mother's crying. I'm sitting there like this.
Shocked.
I was really shocked. And even some of the women in the church came up to him and said, "Oh my God, you can sing. You haven't been singing for us." And he just kept it to himself, and he really had a gift. And so in February 2019, well, in June 2017, he wound up going into Norfolk State Theater Program. And he did his first show. It was called Yellow Man. And he played like 10 characters. It's one of those monologues that you play like all these different characters. Very good. I was shocked with that. And then he wound up having his big role in February 2019. It was during the Norfolk Arts Theater Festival. And it was called Once on This Island. It's a beautiful play dealing with a young man who fell in love with a peasant girl, and it's done in the Caribbean. And it had the show was centered around colorism and things that happened in our neighborhood during in our communities during that time. He sung. He was singing solo. He was singing.
Oh, so he just started singing all over the place.
Yes, he did. I mean, he was singing to the point we were all like, I was like, Louis, I need for you to. I said, Louis, sure you need this. He said, Mom, I can't sing. I can't talk. I gotta save my voice. So I was like, are you really? But he took that role extremely seriously, and he winds up getting Best Actor.
So tell us a little bit about him as a child, like growing up. Like, was he an obedient child? Was he kind of, like, what was his characteristics like?
He was a typical young boy. Mischievous. He was cautious though. So he was the one between, I have a daughter too. So he was the one between the two. My daughter would be like, I'm going to go over here. He would be like, no, Layla, we can't do that. I don't want nothing to happen to you. And she'd be like, come on, boy, let's go.
Right.
So he was always that protector. Always that protector with me, with his sisters. He was really that sister's protector. He was a good kid. I'm not gonna say he was perfect because he was not.
Right.
But I can tell you what he would do. He had a heart for people, and I didn't understand that until I started looking at how my great grandmother just took care of people in the neighborhood. My son would bring his friends over the house all the time. Now, and I'm not talking about one or two people. I'm talking about, lots of people, right? And sometimes, I was like, I need a little privacy. But then, he came to a point where some people may not have had food, so he thought our pantry was the food bank. And he was like, well, Mom, I have to do this. And I'm like, well, what about us? We have to eat too. But he was like, we have a little bit more. So he would always be feeding the people in the neighborhood. Now I'm not gonna say I would be cooking, but they would come up with whatever they could. And he really had a heart. He really had a heart for people. He did.
Okay, so bring us up to speed that day that you received that call.
So
your son was taken.
So 9 days before that, he had just walked me down the aisle. He had just walked me down the aisle and give me away. We were all crying, and he was like, Mom, if you're happy, I'm happy. And I was like, Lou, sweetie, I'm happy. And at first I thought he was joking because he grabbed me, and I thought he was, how, because he's 20.
Right.
It's like,
didn't want to cry.
Right. He didn't want to cry. So he grabbed me. If you have a boy, they tend to pull in head first and grab you and grab your back or whatever. So he did that, almost knocked me down. And we had that conversation. He said, Mom, are you happy? I'm happy. And I said, I'm happy. I said, I love him. And this man makes me happy. And he walked me down the aisle. He cried. And then afterwards, he had a conversation with my dad about, I'm happy. Mom is happy. I'm happy. That's all. That's the one thing I really wanted for my mom.
You said you have a conversation with his dad?
No, my dad, grandpa. Well, my father's still living.
So he walked you down. Your dad, you didn't want your dad to walk you down?
No, both of them walked me down the aisle.
Okay.
I had double duty, honey.
Okay.
I was going before my so my dad walked me on one side and my son walked me on the other side. And and then my son did have a good conversation
Okay.
with my husband, Travis,
Mhm.
and Travis told him, "I'm gonna take care of your mom." And
So he
like,
was having even though you looked at him as your baby, he was having a grown man conversation with your husband to be let him know, look, this my mom.
Yes.
If she's happy, I'm happy to take care of her.
yes,
And so that was good. You know that it was an adult thing to do.
yes,
Mhm.
it was.
And let you know that he was receptive to what was ready to happen.
Absolutely.
in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. He had finally opened up. He had he had finally kind of got his niche, because he was 20. So a lot of times at 20, you may or may not know what you want.
Trying to
You're
find
starting your life, and that's
correct.
great. And so what happened was, literally after the wedding, my daughter went on a trip and I went on a work trip.
Okay.
And that day, on that Monday, September the 16th, I was in class and my phone died. So my phone died. So and I was at the Gaylord up in Maryland. So, and by the time I got back to my room, it was about 12:30, 1 o'clock. So as I'm plugging my phone in, I see this information pop across, Wavy TV 10, man shot, Exxon station.
Wow.
And then I see a couple of minutes later, a man shot in Phoebus. And at the time, I didn't know. We didn't know. No one called me. Once again, my phone was dead. And so his friend who was with him, Brian, called us, and he was young. Brian was 18 years old. And Brian could not tell us what happened. He was really young. Because, they just went to Exxon to get Gatorade. They just literally just went to Exxon to get Gatorade. And so he didn't tell me. And I was like, well, is he at Riverside? I didn't think he was gone.
Right.
What did he actually say?
I said, well, where is he? And Brian was like, I don't know.
What did he say though? Did I miss that?
No, he called and said, hey, Layla called, my daughter called and said, hey, Mom, I heard, he said, Louis been shot. And I just, totally just fainted and was just having a hard time. And then I eventually called his friend Brian.
Okay.
And talking to Brian, even though he knew, he didn't have the heart to tell me.
Right.
So I'm calling my dad. I said, tell my dad to turn around. I said, I heard Louis Jean was shot. I think it said Exxon. Turn around. So I had my dad going down to near Fort Eustis. I called my sister. She is on her way to Fort Eustis, and then she turns around and starts going to Riverside Hospital because we think he's being transferred to Riverside.
Right.
Because no one has told me what has happened. And I would say, as soon as his dad identified his body, the news, they released it that it was him. No one called me though. So then I'm still, in the hotel room at this time. Security's up, and they're helping me pack. I'm like, throw everything in a trash bag.
Right.
And it came across the TV, the news flash, that it was Luis Zambrana Jr. And I fell out, passed out, didn't know how to really take that. A little upset that no one got in contact with me, but they released it. I didn't know, but his father knew, and his father, I just don't think had was able to make the call, because it's devastating, because he had to identify the body. And so at that time, the woman who was there with me, her name is Miss Rose, security officer. she was consoling me, and she had 3 nephews who had died from gun violence.
Wow.
And that was, here I am. She's consoling me. I know what you're feeling because I've had 3 nephews, all the same age, taken from gun violence. And so I was kind of taken back. But we wound up getting here, wound up going to the Exxon at the time they had taken his body. Didn't really understand the connection between that and the Uber driver at that time. I just didn't understand it. But eventually that night, when he turned himself in, because he wound up turning himself in, his father turned him in. We got more information from the police and realized that he was also the one who had murdered the Uber driver as well. And so it was extremely, of course, it's hard, when you hear that, because as a mom, as a mother of an African American son, it's one of those things we see. Right. It's in the media, it's in the news, and you try to do all these things to protect. Right. You really, really do try to do all these things to protect. But my son was standing in Exxon in line, buying Gatorade. That's what he was doing. And the gentleman or the guy, I don't want to say gentleman, I'm just trying to be polite. The suspect who pulled the trigger, they really didn't know each other.
So is it a motive behind? Did anybody ever find out the motive of it?
Well, I can't talk too much into what the motive was, because it's an ongoing case, and we have about 2 more months. Hopefully it'll come to some conclusion. But what I can say is that my son did not know him. Okay. They may have had how everybody has these social networks. So, the guy who did that to my son went to a local high school, and we have friends, the kids, you go to someone in Hampton, someone in Newport News. So, how everybody knows everyone. And that was one of the connections. And so, yeah, it was hard. It was hard.
I'm sure.
It was hard.
It was hard, because sitting here listening to you, I'm just like, Travell, Gam, don't cry. Don't cry. But I can't help but
think,
it's just, it's sad. And I think how it was done, or why it was done, and then being that you were away. I think that was really,
it was hard
hitting me. But I think we have a question. Pint, we have a question.
Yes. So, Britta, have you ever seek revenge or wanted revenge for your son's killer?
So the question I heard is, have I ever wanted revenge?
Like want him dead, or
want the other guy? And so the answer I have is, the pain I feel with my son being gone, I don't want anyone to feel that.
Right.
I mean, the emptiness that you feel when you bury a child is really significant. I mean, it's really big. I've had my grandparents that passed away, but you don't expect to bury your child, and then when it's a sickness, when you have a murder or accident, it's someone else is taking it. So no, I don't want anyone to go through this. So I'm a woman of faith. So I truly believe that when it comes to vengeance, allow the Lord to handle that.
That's right.
Now, I'm not saying he shouldn't be accountable and be in jail. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
Because the question was, do I want to seek revenge?
Right.
I cannot expend my energy thinking about that. I want to do something to protect and to change the community, so no other mother
That's right.
have to do this.
Have you found in your heart to forgive the suspect?
Jesus ain't done with me yet.
Okay.
So
that's understood.
So it's not I can't say about the forgiveness.
Okay.
What I can say is that I want everyone to be held accountable.
That's right.
I don't have hate in my heart. So I don't have hate.
Okay.
Because hate has a tendency to do all types of things
That's
to your
right.
body.
That's
Yes, it
right.
does.
You look around and you got an ache here, ache
Mhm.
there. And this was also from a lot of the other women that I've interfaced with who've gone through the same thing. I took the energy into something, do something positive.
Okay.
And
So-
that's actually good because, you know, being that your son was taken and you
Mhm.
don't want another mother to feel
Yeah.
what you feel, but at the same time, you know, excuse me, I think that it's a selfish act when people do that because, you know, that a suspect has family too.
That's right.
So, you know, it's kind of like both families are hurting.
Yeah.
Yes, yours, you will never see yours again. They will
Mhm.
see him again.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they don't want to see him in that light or didn't raise him to do
Mhm.
what he did.
Correct.
So it's just one of them things you're like, everybody's hurting.
Yeah.
Everybody's
hurting.
Everybody's hurting. But I believe we have another question.
Miss Britta, how has your life changed since your son's death? Like in a negative or positive way? Give us an example of both of you.
Okay. How has my life changed since my son's death? Let's start with the positive first.
Okay.
So what I am doing is trying to turn the hurt that I have into something positive to where I'm making an impact in the community.
That's right.
So I am I work with Moms Demand Action. I'm actually the lead for the city of Chesapeake, Suffolk, and Portsmouth. And what that organization does is we're working to reduce that community violence, that gun violence. And there's certain things we can put in place. There's certain strategies, mitigations that we can do to really make a change in the neighborhood. And so we want to make a change
That's
in the
right.
neighborhood. We want to make a change with the laws, with the
Mhm.
ones we can. It's not about gun control.
Right.
It's about making sure we have common gun laws. So how has this negative impact me? I probably was a lot more outgoing, believe it or
Mhm.
not, than what I am now. I have good and bad days.
Right.
And I try really hard to make every day a good day.
Right.
I really do. But that's probably one.
Mhm.
And then, you know, with me being a newlywed, I try very hard to make
Right.
sure that
You
I'm doing the right
enjoying it
thing and I'm
anyway, right.
enjoying it. But it's, you know,
It's hard.
yeah, my husband, he's amazing. He really is amazing. As a matter of fact, his brother was murdered in 2006, if I'm not mistaken,
Okay.
in Newport News.
Wow.
So, and then the woman who actually did his brother's case
Mhm.
is actually the supervising DA over my case.
Okay.
Small world.
Yeah, it is.
And so, yeah.
Have anyone in his family, the suspect's family, reached out to you to apologize for
Yes.
the act of their?
Yes.
The-
So the parents of the suspect,
Mhm.
we all work in the same place. We all work in the same
Wow.
place.
Wait, right
So-
now? Oh, y'all were.
We did. Well, the suspect was working in the same employer that I was,
Oh, wow.
and his mother also. As a matter of fact, my dad taught his mom.
Oh, wow.
And so when it happened, you know, after you find out everything's happening, you find out the
Mhm.
background. I don't know if it was the mom or the dad actually reached out to us on Facebook and had a conversation, and they said, "We're sorry."
Mhm.
It wasn't, well, your son this. It wasn't that. It was, we're sorry.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'm so sorry.
'Cause both, like Gam was saying, both families have lost
Something.
their sons. Like,
yeah.
and it's sad. And I
It
know
is.
I might hurt. Like, they
It's-
probably didn't even raise them like that.
Well, she is a manager at the company. I'm a manager at the company.
Mhm.
His dad is a retired officer from the military.
Wow.
So no.
Yeah, because
No.
I read that
Wow.
the
Yeah.
father
Okay.
wanted
Mhm.
made him turn himself in.
Mhm.
So It's definitely unfortunate. Like
Yeah.
I can't imagine how you guys feel.
Yeah.
You know, only thing I know, I'm sure that you get your strength from the prayers of
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
other people that are continuing to pray for you guys.
Yeah.
But what is it that you want to come out of this? You know, being that your son was taken and then tragically, but what is it that you want for others not to go through, or the organization that you are working with? Like, what is on your agenda to make sure that he didn't die in vain?
So there are two things on my agenda right now. One is Moms Demand Action. I really am trying to gather a lot of support to make sure we are really making a difference in the community with that.
Okay.
That organization has over 6 million supporters. They have student organizations, network organizations in reference to survivors, and they have a lot of resources to change the laws to make it better. On top of that, and I didn't understand this why, but I'm looking to start a nonprofit
Okay.
in honor of my son's legacy.
That's right.
And Lou's Living Legacy Foundation Incorporated. I want to do something to make a change in the community. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. We talk about it all the time.
That's right.
We can talk about it. We over coffee. No, what are we going to do? Right? There's money on the table right now. The city of Suffolk has, I want to say, like close to $15 million that came down through the CARES Act.
Mm-hmm.
That some of that money we can do something in the community. Let's get a coalition of community leaders, and let's see what we can do to really combat all of the things that's happening.
So it's like you want to come up with like different activities, fairs, or
we're looking at one, what can we do to reduce community violence? So there are a lot of studies out there that have proven things. Low-hanging fruit, where are the hot spots? What's happening? Can we clean those up?
That's
Low-hanging fruit. What type of training, remediation, conflict resolution, de-escalation? Why is it that if someone does something to you, flips you off in a car, you're ready to shoot? There's something wrong with that equation.
It is.
There's something wrong with it. It's not that serious.
When I was reading up on gun violence, it was saying something about some of this stuff actually takes place in a child as they're growing up, as far as their mental state. I think a lot of parents sometimes ignore different things dealing with the youth growing up. You see that something is wrong, and they might need therapy. They might need counseling. And I think a lot of parents are not being held accountable to actually notice these things like anger management. There's a lot of young folks grow up with lack of fatherhood or motherhood, and I think they're reaching out to other things that's negative to feel like in a group. That's when they get involved with the games.
Yeah, and so you're absolutely right. So what can we do about that? The first thing you talked about, which is something that is an issue, is mental health in our community. It's been stigmatized for such a long time that even when I needed to be a mother to my children and to get them counseling, I was just like, oh, we just gonna pray and fast and and turn your plate over and all the evil spirits to leave. And that was my ignorance with that, right? Now I know better. Because you can pray and fast, but if you're not doing any action with that, what are you doing? You're just like a tinkling cymbal. So with that, what are we going to do different, right? So I do have a meeting with the Ministerial Alliance coming up in about 3 weeks, talking about the coalition, talking about what we can do. Number one, mental health. Number two, let's talk about some de-escalation methods that we can teach. Number three, conflict resolution.
Right.
What can we do about that? Number four, activities for people. Number five, we can get some more playgrounds
Yeah.
Number 6, when I was Alpha Food Store is closed. So
Right.
I was looking for water at y'all event,
Mhm.
and I had to stop and think. I was like, wow, I have to go all the way out to Portsmouth Boulevard
Mhm.
to go to a grocery store. I could not believe it.
Yeah.
Because the Alpha Food Store was there for such a long
It was.
time. It was a staple. And then we had Food Lion. Now I'm really telling my age because that's been gone for a long time
Right.
down there. So we really need to think about that.
Yeah.
What is in our community?
I seen on
Nothing.
a movie one time. I think I did. I know I ain't making this up, but how they had like a fair in one of the rough neighborhoods or the bad neighborhoods where the violence is high.
Mhm.
And what about giving out $50 gift cards for everybody to bring in a gun? No questions asked.
They bring in their
I
weapons.
seen it somewhere
Okay.
on the movie. If they got that much money, I think that a nice amount of gift card and hot dogs and burgers and music.
Okay.
I
So
think that'll help.
so
too.
what I'm hearing you say is I think that's the buyback
The
program,
buyback, right?
Okay.
Where no questions asked, right?
Mhm.
Some of these guns that are ghost guns, illegal guns, let's get them off the street, buy them back. What is the incentives? That's a great idea. We're going to talk about that, ladies.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that.
Chesapeake, I haven't heard of nobody doing that.
No,
I've
we haven't done
seen
it.
it. I've definitely have heard of it before.
I
I
heard
just
of
can't. I want to say in Norfolk one time before I heard it or something.
Mhm.
Don't quote me on that, but that definitely is a
I
good
know Suffolk
idea.
haven't.
It's just
No, we
that
haven't done
we
that.
still have to have those programs, and we have to have things for kids to do, because
Mhm.
just like last night when we had an episode, if you don't give the kids anything to do, what do you expect them to do? They're
That's
gonna make
correct.
up
That's right.
stuff.
That's
They're gonna
right.
go out and
That's right.
and do things, and it's just unfortunate.
It is.
It really is. But I listened to you and you said something about the Ministerial Alliance. Is that in Suffolk?
On the Suffolk
Okay.
Ministerial International, I think it's the Suffolk Ministerial International Alliance. Yes. Yeah. I want to sit down and talk with them really about gun violence. What can we do, especially working to dispel this myth about mental health. And I can tell you that I really realized it was a huge deficit in our community when so how did it happen? When I was in the process of being, I'm still going through grief counseling.
Okay.
I'm still going through grief counseling. And at the time, in order for me to function immediately after my son's murder, they did have to prescribe me some Valium.
I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure.
And Valium makes you extremely calm.
Okay.
Right. And so as I was taking it, and people were calling me from work saying, "How are you doing?" Every now and then everyone would say, "Oh girl, I'm on that stuff."
Right.
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 And I was like, really? Because I didn't grow up with us, I didn't grow up anyone in my family, taking Valium. So what
Right.
it was a lot of people.
And you know what? You would be
Right.
surprised. It's
Yeah.
a lot of people that are on
Yeah.
those meds that function. They're highly functional, like
Mhm.
every day. Like
Mhm.
you wouldn't, because like even it's not funny, but I
Well,
went
I
myself
can-
off
I
of
remember
one.
working
Yeah.
with a guy, and he was on it, and he was prior military.
Mhm.
And one day he ran out,
Mhm.
and he jumped from the top tier to the bottom tier. I'm talking about
Really?
scared the whole part. Everybody's scared of him anyway.
Uh-huh.
And like you just didn't play with him. He'll be like, "I ain't hit my meds today. Y'all believe me alone." You'll be like, "Oh, okay.
Right.
All right, all right."
I can say,
wow.
because I didn't want to put a stigmatism on that.
Mhm.
I can say that just like if you have high blood pressure
Right.
Mhm.
and diabetes, you have to take your medication, right? Because a lot of it
Right.
has to do with the chemistry and the chemicals and the
Right.
hormones.
Mhm.
In the same manner, when you are looking at mental health and how your brain chemistry works.
Mhm.
And so what I was reading about community violence is that when you grow up with the community violence, it triggers that flight or fright
Mhm,
type
mhm.
of
And I'm sure.
reaction. And since it doesn't stop, you continue to grow up and your body is still producing that hormone.
Mhm.
And then it's difficult for you to have a balance. And they
Balance, right.
talk about that. We never come out of that, and we constantly live in that. When I say we, people who have been in that situation. So it's important to make sure, that you get the right health, you get the right, get the right help that you need, and that you're doing what you need to do to get better.
And it's sad too, because a lot of young females, one time was just the boys or the guys. It's a lot of females is shooting.
Oh yes,
shooting, and
yes,
getting shot. A young girl recent, I think yesterday, right here in 757. She's I want to say 14 or 20.
She was 20.
One was 14. I think I heard one was 20. I think it was
the 20-year-old was because she was the same age as my son.
And they females, and I just it freaked me out, y'all. I'm telling you, to the point where I know my children have to go places and do things. I don't even want them to go nowhere, and it shouldn't even be like that.
And that's why we got to make a change, because we should not live in fear.
Right.
I mean, we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And that's right.
So what are we going to do about our environment? What are we going to do different in our community? Recently, when I was trying to get a proclamation signed for the city of Suffolk to recognize Wear Orange, I came up against the gun lobbyists, extreme gun lobbyists. And it was a very interesting city council meeting. I was there with my picture. My husband was there, and one other young woman. Her name is Melanie from Chesapeake. She's running for delegate over there. As a matter of fact, we were there, and we were speaking for, hey, we don't want to take your guns. We just think we need to recognize, honor the victims, the family members. And people were just get upset about the word gun, and it gets into the politics. And I'm here to say that community violence is an issue, and especially gun violence, because in the time since we've had the Juneteenth celebration, that day there was an issue in James City County before the end of the event. And I do believe we've had about 6 or 7 shootings since then. And a lot of them you don't know. Some of them are domestic violence. You do not know. So it isn't so much as saying that when people say, hey, I want to, I'm not going to shoot. I need a gun to protect myself. Well, you don't know what's in someone's mind. You don't know. You don't know what's in someone's mind. So we really have to think about that.
Okay, we have. I believe we have several questions.
Yes, we do have a few. Thank you, Jarrell. So, what are some laws that you would like to see added or changed?
I think we really need to make sure we are coming through the red flag law. They have made some significant strides since my son was taken away, but we just need to make sure that someone from a violent tendency, like they have a restraining order, mental illness, that we are doing our due diligence, right? And there is due diligence. There is due diligence with that, because you can put a law in place, but if you don't have the due diligence, if you don't have someone actually upholding it and using it, right, it doesn't do any good. So we're going to talk about red laws, hopefully red flag laws.
Red flag laws. Okay. And I think that is very important, the statement that you just made, because, we have all these laws, whether they're old or new. And if we don't have people that are actually enforcing it, because we see a lot of people who have domestic violence.
Yes.
And, they have restraining orders against, the suspect or whomever, and they end up doing something to them. Yeah. And it's like they end up falling through the cracks. And it's like, at some point, they have to take accountability.
That's right.
That's right. The police, the city, whomever, because, you guys didn't follow up or do what you should have actually done. So that actually cost somebody their life. Yeah. And you can't get that back. Right. And that happens more than you think. It happens really more than you think. A lot of times, people say, oh, is it gangs? Is it drugs?
a lot of times when you peel back the onion and really the layers and really understand it's not that. It's somebody probably had a mental issue. We did not address it
As a
at a young age.
That's-
We haven't addressed it like we should have, especially in our community. And we just, put on, just keep moving.
Yeah.
We just keep doing, and we have to just make sure that we are helping each other when it comes to that. So I mean, Citizens Take a Stand. That's the coalition I'm trying to start.
That's right.
And not to cut you off, but it starts with more than just you. Like, you have to have some support,
Right.
because a lot of times we as people, and I mean African Americans, we don't get involved until it hits home for us. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to get involved. But then when that knock comes on our door,
That's right.
or when that phone rings, we want somebody to drop everything to help. But it's like you have to take just like you said, stop talking about doing something and be a doer.
Right. We're looking for some doers.
Yeah, you have to have those doers, because if not, you're still going to have people on this end still doing what they want to do.
That's right.
So, and you gotta have you gotta get out there and do what needs to be done. But before we take this question, we're gonna take this question, then I'll ask you about your meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so if it is mental health that rules out the whole situation, don't you think like it could be like a family history or like a curse or something like that that's causing all of this gone down?
So make sure I just understood the question. Is it something from a hereditary perspective that
Possibly.
it possibly could be, right? Yes and no. Sometimes, once again, it could be a traumatic event. Post-traumatic stress disorder is real. A lot of times we don't even get ourselves treated for it until it's a really crippling. And then you have the ones that's hereditary, right?
Right.
So then you have to really think about that. That's like the people who have cholesterol that could be like this skinny, but they have cholesterol, right? That's hereditary. Or heart disease, that's hereditary. So you have to do what you need to do to really mitigate that, to really make sure you're taking care of yourself with that. So those type of situations, we want to make sure that we're putting everything on the table. We understand, and that people are getting the help that they need. So, but not to put a stigma on it,
Right.
I look at it as, okay, if you have to go, that's fine. Just like, I shouldn't eat. They have fried crabs in here, y'all. I can't eat fried crabs anymore. And I love fried crabs. I can't eat them anymore, right?
Wait till you get grown.
Yeah, I can't. Wait till I get to being 48 years old, and now I'm allergic to them. But I can't eat them anymore, right? So what am I going to do different?
Right.
How do I change my diet? Same exact thing when it comes to mental health. And if we eat right, when we all eat right, we all win.
That's right.
So that's some things. I'm looking at doing some great things in the city of Suffolk. So
you have anything coming up soon? Already planned?
Well, the only thing we have a lot of Be Smart, and let's talk a little bit about Be Smart program for Moms Demand Action. That is a program that is out, and we give lockbox to people to make sure they keep their guns safe. And that is to prevent unintentional shooting.
The little kids mess
So
up.
yes, you know how the kids get on your bed, like get up from my bed, they're under the bed, they're here and there. And so the Be Smart program, and we're going to be out at Constance Worth this weekend. The Be Smart program is about having that conversation, understanding what you should do, holding each other accountable, right? Making sure that you have the tools, and then telling everybody else about it. So I remember in middle school of some friends, they were middle school, 12, 13, unintentional fatal death. 2 cases. One guy, the country, a lot of guys in the rural areas, they know how to handle guns, but this guy happened to be from the city. Didn't know how to handle a gun. Accidentally winds up shooting his friend. Same thing with a brother, two brothers. At the school I went to, he accidentally shot his brother. Unintentional, but nevertheless, the pain is there.
The pain is there, right?
And we have to make sure that if we have guns in the house, let's make sure they're in a gun lock box. It isn't that expensive, $12, $15 off of Amazon. A lot of times the sheriff departments actually give them away. So what are we going to do to make sure we hold each other accountable? Because if it happens on your watch as an adult, you will be held accountable and they will put you in jail. So
right now, being that your son is gone, like on those days where you feel like, you know, you just have no energy, you just have no fight in you, like walk me through one of those days.
I stay in the bed. that's a day. That's a day. I stay in the bed, and then I tell myself, okay, I need for you to get up. You have to get up. You have to put one foot in front of the other. Your son would not want you to do this because he was always like, come on, Mom, you can do it. And I was like, I'm tired. You know, I'm trying not to be tired anymore. So on those days, and you do have them. You have those days. I saw this really good illustration about grief. And so some people think, so consider a ball, right? And some people think you put the ball inside of a jar. And some people think as time goes on, the ball shrinks, and ball representing the grief, but that's not how it works. The ball stays the same. And you as a person have to grow, have to change, get larger, get bigger, right? But that doesn't mean the grief changes. So that's how you have to look at it. So some days are good days, some days are bad days. The number of African American parents, because I talk to a lot of women. I'm not up in no man's face. So.
Right.
It was not
having it.
Yes, that's right. I can say that it was sobering. So my first meeting at a Newport News police station support group, and because that's when my son was murdered. Chief Drew is actually amazing over there. We had a room. It was like 25 moms.
Right.
That's
all of them look like me.
Right.
That's a lot.
But looking at you,
it was sobering.
And I know you was like, why is she the rock staring at me? Before the show, y'all, I just kept staring at her and at you, and you are strong. And I know you had your weekdays, but I'm just looking at you, and I don't wish you don't know better, but you strong.
And that's why I was telling her, I said, I'm not really strong because, you know, the flesh is weak, right? It really is the prayers of the righteous that have been praying for me. I'm not, because when you're going through grief, sometimes you don't have the strength to pray for yourself.
Right.
You can only say, I call on the name of Jesus.
Right.
That's who I call on. And a lot of times that's all I have. I'm able to do.
But you know what? And the good thing about him is that's all you need to do.
That's right.
Is if you can get a mumble, you're doing good.
A mumbling word. That's right.
Word,
groan. Sometimes it's just good. A groan. Yeah.
You're doing good.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it was shocking walking in that room, looking at, you know, women that look like you, maybe even talk like you.
It was very sobering. I can tell you when this did happen, when my son was murdered, I had a lot of women to come up to me and say, oh, my son was murdered too. It was like, what? Your son was murdered? I'm at Norfolk State and I'm meeting, I think she was a vice president.
Okay.
Oh, my son was murdered too. What? You know, and it was.
It's no respectable person.
It's not,
and that's right.
And it really isn't.
People have just been in cars, like I said, standing in a grocery store, standing in line, one of my friends, her son was getting potato chips, right? My brother-in-law who was murdered, I mean, he was just waiting in line, waiting for his mom to come pick him up. So, and in one of my friends, her brother was just in a crossfire of somebody else doing something else totally different.
Nothing to do with him.
Had nothing to do with it. He was just going to get food.
And it goes back to what you said about you never know what's on a person's mind.
Right.
Like, so, it's just one of them things, I'm not going to say at the wrong place at the wrong time. It's just, you just don't know. You don't know that day when you leave home if you're coming back.
Right. And so that's why we all have to work together.
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't want us to live in fear, because the Lord has not given us a spirit of fear,
right.
but a spirit of power. Right. And
That's
so
right.
we can make a change.
We can.
We can make a change in the community. We can talk about getting these ghost guns off the street. We can talk about getting the illegal guns off the street. But better yet, let's understand why you want to hurt somebody.
Right.
Let's talk about, how do you de-escalate? How do you resolve a conflict? Okay, if someone hits you, you don't have to go off, right? So we got to have that conversation.
Now,
Right, 'cause you can't
now, let's be real.
When he
Now, if
said
you
that.
hit me, I'm hitting you.
But the thing is, you gotta wait for later.
Yeah, because you gotta realize, like, sometimes just because it's over with you don't mean it's over with that person.
That's right. That's right. That's
Because
right.
I not too long ago over in Newport News, two guys got into an argument at a convenience store or whatever, and the guy left from the convenience store and was going home.
Yeah.
He followed him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Killed him.
Yeah.
Like it's
like I'm like you, Britta. What makes them tick to follow somebody home and just kill them? You don't think about the nasty food in the prison, because I know I do.
Just or all the other stuff.
I like to eat. I'm just saying, my mama gonna be mad at me, crying, sad. Like I'm like you.
Somebody gotta
what
tell you what
makes
to do.
them tick?
Yeah. And so we got to really peel back those layers to really understand that.
That's right. We have a question.
Yes. Britta, have you ever been to counseling? And if so, did it help you? And how did it help you?
Yes, I have been to counseling, and yes, I am still in counseling, because once again, grief is not something you just turn off. You can't just turn it off. So I am seeing Dr. Bear Gomez Demita. She went to Norfolk State. She's amazing, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Say her name again, because I got
Demita. You know what?
Say her name again.
Yeah, Demita.
Small work.
Yeah, Demita Brown Gonzalez.
Okay.
She is amazing.
Okay.
And she is a certified grief counselor. So, and then I also go to the support group over still in Newport News, because when you realize you can have grief, you have the counseling for yourself. The group counseling, it's like you're able to connect with somebody,
Right?
who really understands,
Right.
Right.
And every now and then, my husband will be like, because I'll start crying or something, and he'll like, look, you need to call one of your sisters,
Right.
and talk to them
Right.
to find out how you feel, because it's hard. Holidays is hard. My son's birthday is coming up July the 22nd. All that's hard. And so it's like, what do I need to do to continue to move forward? So yes, I'm counseling, and it's good too. It helps me when I'm obedient and do what you say to do.
That's right.
Some days I just don't want to do it.
Do you celebrate his birthday?
Yes, I do celebrate his birthday. Last year we couldn't. We did a small celebration where I made his favorite food, which was pizza.
Okay.
So I grilled pizzas out on the grill. I'm hoping to have a bigger celebration this year.
Okay.
For his birthday. So,
what about some dreams? Have you dreamed about?
I dream all the time.
Too.
I had a lot of dreams. Yeah, I have a lot of dreams about my son telling me this, telling me that. And I could smell them. And sometimes I even wake up saying, don't leave.
Yeah, the dream.
Yeah. And look, my husband's like, I'm right here. So I ain't talking to you. I'm sorry. But yeah, I do have dreams, and they're very vivid. And it just makes me realize that, you always have the memories. You always have that person that you love in your heart. So you always have them there. And I just hope that I'm able to make him proud of me to, even though he's no longer with me physically, that we can make sure we can make a difference.
I'm sure he knows that his mom is going hard behind him. I'm sure he knows that. And when you were saying about smelling him, I know like sometimes, you just, when you smell him or when he comes to you in your dream, do you ever have that need to just be able to hug him that last time? Like, hear his voice.
Yes.
Like, or imagine, what he would have been doing.
Yep. Hearing his voice, hugging him, smelling him, all that really, really helps. And so the good thing is that I have a lot of videos.
I was going to ask you, have the
I have
plays
a lot of videos. I have a
Yes.
lot of plays. He
So
was in
thank God for that, because had he not
been in the
that,
play,
then
right?
That's what I was going to ask. Yes.
So I have him singing "No Longer Slave to Fear."
Okay.
We have him in the play at Norfolk State, and we just got through doing. We have a huge scholarship fund for him. It's an endowed scholarship fund at Norfolk State, educating people who are looking to go into the theater. And so we have a scholarship fund. So I'm very excited about that.
So how is your daughter? Like, how is she? Like, is she active? Like, far as you trying to implement some of the things that you're trying to get done for it?
She's healing. I'm about to be a grandma, so she's focusing on being a mom.
Okay.
I'm about to be a Gigi girl. So my little baby,
That'll help you too.
Lavina,
Yes.
that's gonna help.
She having a boy or girl?
She's having a girl.
Okay.
She's having a girl. She's having a girl. So I think siblings heal differently than parents, because she's even said, "Mom, I'm not that strong."
Wow.
Because we wound up going to court like 2 or 3 months ago.
Okay.
It was first time.
Okay.
It was 2019, and I'm saying in January 2021. And they were just like, "Mom, you're just stronger." And I was like, "Well, I gotta do what I need to do." So it reminds me of a woman in the Bible. Her name was Rizpah. And she's one of those women that we don't talk about. But Rizpah's children, her 2 boys, had died. And she stayed out there and because they were, I think, one of the kings, and they didn't get the right burial. And she stayed out there as they were hung. She protected her sons. She protected her, even though they were dead. She did everything she could to make sure people say, "You're gonna give my son the proper burial. You're gonna give my son the proper what is deserving of him." And that's what I want to say. What my son, it's gonna be proper. I'm gonna do.
Yes, he is.
He has a nice looking father.
Oh,
I seen him on the news.
Yeah. I can say that it's good looking boy, and we are going to do what we need to do in order to really combat this community violence. We got to do something different. I'm going to do what we need to do to protect them. I'm going to be like Rizpah. I have that spirit out there that I'm always going to be just out there protecting. What do we need to do?
Beautiful spirit, brother.
Thank you.
And you are stronger than you think. I'm sure you have your low points. It's you are human.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I know you said that you went to the city council meeting. How did that go?
That was an experience. There were a lot of people against us doing the proclamation.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It was a lot of people.
Wow.
The mayor was courageous. And he did do the proclamation, but they were a lot. They didn't like the word gun. I was like, I don't why. He was killed with a gun. And,
that's right. And if you can say it, and you are a victim.
Yes, that's what I was like. I don't understand, but it was not good. It was a very difficult time. I mean, to the point that the gun lobbyists came, and it was a lot of them. It was like 45, 50 people. It was a lot of people that day. But I'm one of those people that try to get I try to be a bridge builder. So I was like, oh, thank y'all for wearing orange. Because that's the color everybody need to wear.
Right.
I said the guns do protect people, thank you, but let's talk about the victims.
That's right.
And so I told them, at the end of the day, when I went and talked to their leader, I said, what can we do to do? We need to work together.
Right.
They were like, I can't believe you're gonna work, because they called me some Marxist organization. I'm like, everybody's a Marxist, extreme radical left. I was like, look, we're just trying to do what we need to do to help the community.
Right.
So I said, what can we do to work together? Right. What can we do? And we were sitting there talking about mass shootings. The guy was like, I said, oh, the mass shooting in California. He was like, no, the mass shooting in Florida. I was like, we should not even be having this conversation.
Exactly.
Right.
That's a crazy conversation, right?
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, we talked about what can we do on the common ground. Common ground was we need to do something about mental health. That's number one. Number two, let's get the guns off of the street and out of the hands of the people who should not have one.
Right.
So.
Okay. I do know that one of the young ladies that's running for Commonwealth of Attorney here in Suffolk,
Yes.
Rendra Ples, I know that's one of her things she's trying to implement too, which is mental health court.
Yep.
Which is very important.
Mental health court.
Mental health court.
Okay.
Which a lot of people that are offenders have mental health issues. So I feel like that's very important if she can implement that when she wins.
Yeah,
She's gonna win.
I think I'm hoping she wins.
Yeah, when she
one thing
wins.
I can say that we need to get more help in the communities.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, the courts is okay, but by the time you're in the courts, it's too late.
Too late.
That's
right.
It's really too late.
That's
So
right.
what are we going to do tomorrow? What are we going to do Friday? What are we going to do next week? What can we do to make a change immediately? And I think I have some plans.
Okay.
So I'm going to definitely talk to these ladies, because these ladies are movers and shakers in the city. I'm so proud of them. And we are definitely going to do something.
Yeah,
So.
we're definitely going to do what we can to help, and we are definitely shakers and movers.
Yes!
Like, we are doers. We just not sitting up here just flapping our gums. So we're definitely going to help and do what we can. But before we go, what is it something that you want to say to? Well, what can you say to someone who that you make it prevent them from going out taking someone else like?
If I had the
opportunity,
okay, if I had the opportunity to have a conversation with the guy who did that, I would say it's not worth it.
That's right.
What are you going to accomplish?
That's right.
It's not worth it. Come, let us reason and talk together. Let's talk about come to a solution.
Right.
What is it going to accomplish? Because you're still not going to get anything if you use the gun. It's not like you resolve the issue.
Right.
It don't even really make you feel good,
Right.
Because you have all the day you're running from the cops and you can't go nowhere and everybody's looking for you. So what is it going? Yeah, what is it going to resolve? What is it going to resolve? So, that's what I would say. Why? What did you do? Your mama crying. I'm crying. Your grandma crying. Your future. What about your daughter? How's she gonna live now? Who's gonna take care of her? So why? That's the question. You ask, but we can put some of those actions in place. We can put some of those things in place to really help people, so they can understand. Yeah.
Well, before we go, August 21st, 2021. I know y'all get tired of hearing me say it,
Right.
but guess what? August 21st, y'all, is our all black tie fair. It's like a tongue twister a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you get it out, girl.
But don't get it twisted.
Hey.
It's going to be the event of the year.
Where is it gonna be?
Norfolk Botanical Gardens.
Oh, that's nice.
No, we're gonna show
I'm
we're gonna
excited.
show everyone how it's supposed to be done. So we're gonna do it in DC and in the water.
Okay.
But August 21st, Botanical Gardens, all roads are leading to there. I don't want to call out no interstates because I don't know no highways like that. I just get on them and ride. But we still have a few tickets left, so hit us up so that you can get those tickets from us. In the meantime, you can catch us Thursday live on YouTube, as well as you can see us on Facebook, and Instagram.
Mhm.
Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. every day for 1 hour. You can hear us on Powered by Virginia Radio. You can see us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, ebny.tv, Pandora, Spotify, iHeart. Wherever you can find any MP3 outlets, you're going to find Wait Again Minute. So, and if you forget any of what I just said, Google Wait Again Minute.
Wait
I love
again,
it.
minute.
I love you. I love it. Wait again a minute.
Hey,
Because
that's
girls
right.
are talking.
That's
Wait
right, brother.
again a minute. I love it, y'all. I was like, oh, I like this. Let me wait again a minute. Let me subscribe. So
Right.
yeah.
That is correct. But I mean, we have enjoyed you thus far. Like I have really learned a few things, and you know, just like when you were saying about thinking before we react,
That's right.
I'm gonna have to pick that up what you put down, because you know, so quick to, you know, you hit me, I'm hit you back.
Yeah. And that's, you know, that's the thing, but that's how we were.
So, yeah. So, you know, it's definitely something that I have to look into and work on. Rock, do you have any last words?
I just want to thank Britta for coming, because honestly, I don't know if I would be able to do that if I was in your shoes.
It's been
I
a
don't
while.
know, but I just want to thank you for coming and sharing, because it takes a strong person, and you did good. I cried before the show, y'all, and Britta didn't even
As
cry.
always.
So I really want to say thank you.
Thank you.
We normally ask our guests to give us a feedback of Wait Again Minute, or leave us with some encouraging words or anything about Wait Again Minute. So this time, we'd like you to share something about Wait Again Minute.
I just want y'all to, before you pick up, before you say something, just wait again a minute.
Yay!
Think about what you're doing.
Okay.
Right.
Think about the consequences.
Okay.
Be positive.
That's right.
Find that common ground, because when you work together, you know, the scriptures tell you one can chase 1,000, but two can chase 10,000. So when you work together,
Okay.
how much further can you go? And I know Wait Again a Minute, girl, they got it going on. I'm gonna be at that black tie. I'm gonna tell all my friends about y'all.
Okay.
I'm behind y'all.
So, Britta, you already bought your ticket?
no, I'm ready to go. I'm gonna cash out this right now.
Okay. Okay, Britta.
I sure am. She ain't tell me about it.
Okay.
So get on her. I'm like, okay, be my babe. We going somewhere in October. I mean, August
August
21st.
21st.
August 21st. August 21st.
We will be glad to see y'all. And I know,
Yes.
and I know y'all gonna be dressed and ready.
Yes.
But with that being said, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. But we are gonna get together. You know, we're gonna do what we can do to support.
That's
and
right.
hopefully someone will get something out of this message tonight, because I do believe that a lot of things that we do go through is not for us personally,
Right.
maybe for somebody else.
Yes.
So
That's true.
Yes.
You are strong. Like
Yes,
you are stronger than you think.
Mhm.
And just keep pushing, and doing what you think you need to do for your son, in memory of your
That's
son,
right.
Yeah.
and protecting somebody
Yes,
else's
the
son.
Mhm. Or
So
daughter.
or daughter. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Sad.
Let me
Yes.
not discriminate.
Yes.
You're exactly
Yes.
right. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. So good night.
Good
Good night.
Stay tuned.
Thank
Wait
y'all
Again
very
Minute.
much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.